Hey, peace be with you. My name is Nicole. My friends call me Cole. I am the mom and shaman. Um, I wanted to talk to you, tell you the story about my recent inspired visit to a house of worship. For those that know me personally, I am an intuitive life coach and professional cuddler, as well as a candy maker extraordinaire, and a little bit of a poet and spoken word performer. So, all of the things I do is to the glory of the Most High, Father God, Mother Earth, who came together to make me. The energy that beats my heart is the same energy that beats yours, and I hope that this message is an encouragement to you. You know, since hopping off of the hamster wheel and essentially uh, going on this ride of spiritual transformation, I have gone to several houses of worship and been either told or made to feel unwelcome because I go to enjoy myself, and some people don't. They go to church for various reasons, and I love live music. Yeah, so it is resonant, and it's I love to hear people singing, like sharing their musical gifts, because there's power in music. So uh, the New Year's Eve, I opted to stay home and just relax naked in my bed, and I happened to look out the window at midnight and I saw a fireworks show. So I was like, all right, turn up, universe. I don't have to go anywhere. The show is coming to me. So I really took that as an encouragement that the universe is looking out for me and encouraging me to share my light with others. Cause like, yeah. So I got up first and took a shower, rubbed myself down. I had my hair done differently, but did my hair, put on my beautiful vestments. I opted to wear something that was one sleeve so that my heart could be on my sleeve. One of my favorite tattoo because it's right here where I can show you. So I get dressed and I dress rather eclectically, and I appreciate that because my clothes are one of the ways that I express myself. And when people compliment or acknowledge the way that I dress, I say thank you. It is from my I'd Rather Be Naked collection. So stay tuned for that happening at some point. So I get dressed, and I was like, I know that there are several churches near me, and since the first was on a Sunday, that the likelihood that they would be there was rather high. So I was like, okay. I was raised Catholic, and they tend to have services around 11, so I shot to get somewhere around 11 o'clock. I'm driving down the street, and when I get to the intersection, I can go to the right or I can go to the left. And I saw a church very close over to the right, and I was like, okay. And then the spirit was like, go to the left. So I was like, all right. I knew there were several churches to the left of where I was turning. So I'm like, all right, cool. Where we going? So I'm driving down the road, and then my eye catches the side of the building, and I start to like get into the next lane so I can make a right to go there, and um, uh, almost swerved in front of a little blue Cooper, and I was like, oh my gosh! But I managed not to swerve in front of them, which was good. But I slowed down so that they could pass me, and then I could get over. And they were actually going to the same place. I have yet to meet the person, but stay tuned in future diaries. I may, so we'll see. But I pull in, I'm like, oh goodness, like, oh, I just gave somebody an interesting experience on the day or what have you. Like, oh man, so I go in and park, pull forward into the parking spot, and I sit there for a moment, and I'm like, okay, like, what am I doing here? And my intuition was like, just relax and go enjoy yourself. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. So, okay, center myself. I grab some money to give for an offering, and I get ready to get out of the car and grab. I leave my cell phone in the car because I don't want to be distracted by my technology, but I do take something to take notes with because when I've gone to church, there's usually been a lot of information and intuitive pings or have you that come through. So I pen and paper or sign an engagement. So when you go someplace, that's a note to you. Take some pen and paper. You may have an idea or a thought that you can find useful. So it's good to have a pen and paper with you wherever you go, to be honest with you. Unless you have one of those memories that um, can remember things. I personally like to write it down. It improves the likelihood that I'm actually going to remember it. So I get out the car, and the woman next to me, who parked next to me, is getting out of her car. And as she's walking, she drops her keys, and I hear the cling, and I go, "Freedom." All right, cool. That's a good omen. And she doesn't say anything. So, and she's very beautiful. I don't recall whether or not I said good morning to her, but I did see the words about the keys dropping being a good omen of freedom. So I was like, all right. So I go in. Now, before I walk into the building, I do stop, put my hand over my heart, hold my soda light and my safety pins, and I ask and thank my angels, guides, ancestors, and guardians for being with me through this time, that I may be a representation of love in this experience. So I'm like, never set foot in this building before. Saw some people going into a door, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go into that door too. So I step into the door, and I just kind of look around, and I see someone that has a name tag on. Okay, hi, I've never been here before. How does this work? So he says, welcome, my name is David, and like he walks me over to like a little table that has these little gift bags on them, and he gives me a gift bag. He tells me welcome, and he says that he's been at the church like 14 years. Come on in, service starts about 11:15. I'm gonna love it. Make yourself at home, comfortable, all that good stuff. Now, I did that. There was a little stand or something to the left as I walked in the door, but I didn't smell like any coffee, and I think I saw chips or whatever on the table. I was like, yeah, I don't need no cheaps. So I think David, he never asked me for my name, and I don't offer it because I am just, yeah, I'm there. I'm there, and I'm just kind of going with it or what have you. And I'm just like a little somber because it's a new year, and I'm by myself, and I'm adventuring on my own, and I'm inspired to be here. So it's, I'll admit, it's a little begrudgingly because the amount of judgment that is in a church building is palpable, is tangible, and like thick. So, all right, fine. And I know that I look odd, but I have on a poncho, a blue poncho over me, so I don't quite look as odd as I do when I take my poncho off, if you know what I'm saying. So, I go in and sit down, and people are like fellowshipping and acknowledging one another, and it's really nice. And no one comes up to me. Someone even says, "Hey, welcome our visitors," or what have you. And I don't look around to see if there are any other visitors because I know I'm a visitor, and I wouldn't know if anybody was new because everybody there is new to me. So, so then a lovely young woman sits in front of me. Her name is Anasia, and I thought, wow, that's such a beautiful name. She had such lovely braids, and she told me that she'd been coming to that place for about 2 months and that she enjoyed it. She was like, it's really nice here. And I was like, awesome, okay, thank you, I appreciate that. And I'm like, we'll see. And I'm thinking, we'll see how nice they are to me. And it's like, I appreciate that you set that expectation of niceness. However, I feel like my interpretation of that is a little bit different. So yes, we're going to talk about this tea in a little bit. This is my ginger lime tea with a little bit of honey. It's my warm thing to start drinking on my day. At any rate, so she's sitting in front of me, and she doesn't necessarily explain too much to it. David gave me a little bit of a breakdown of how the service works because there's like no program. So yeah, for me as a visitor to follow along with that I'm aware of, but there was a little QR code or something on the little welcome placard that they gave me. So being sans my cell phone and technology, I don't know what that is. Although I will admit that I recently learned how to use the QR code, so I feel like I'm really coming in with technology. Um, be that as it may, um, so people get up on stage and then they start to sing, and they start to sing about freedom. And that particular word, freedom. Now, the thing that resonated with me was because I mentioned the word freedom in the parking lot before I came into the building, so that made my eyes water. That was an acknowledgement or some synchronicity for me that yeah, I was in the right place. All right, cool, I'm in the right place. I did not give myself permission at that point to like relax and enjoy myself because I still felt judged and I was in a state of judgment. To be perfectly honest with you, my thinking faces on. It's like, what are these people doing? How is it they worship? What is it they're? But just just kind of kept taking it all in and whatnot, and just feeling the energy in the space. And after they finished singing a couple of songs, which were really lovely, I did feel the desire to kind of rock and sway and enjoy myself a little bit. And they talked about doing the offering, where to come do it, and then because it was the first of the month, some churches I understand do communion at the first of the month. Because I was raised Catholic, we do communion every service. So, and it's very ceremonial, and I appreciate that because there's consistency in ceremony. No, but of course that's not how they're doing it, and I'm appreciating how they're doing it as best I can. Although I don't necessarily like understand it. Like, okay, we get these cups, and then what do we do? Do we do anything together? Like, and then they have this little prepackaged cups that have a little bit of wine in it, and a little film, and then the wafer at the top. And I get my cup off the thing and put my offering in the little bucket or what have you, and then I go to stand near my seat and because I felt like I was gonna need to use the bathroom, so I was like, okay, let me go pee before I'm all right. But anyway, let me get this thing open, and I'm struggling with this thing. Like I'm having a hard time. I don't know if I'm pulling it. I don't want to pull it too hard. I'm not pulling it hard enough, so it's not coming off. Do I pull it? And it's just I am hyper focused on this little cup right here. And so much so, and I was challenged. So would you please, can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? A couple of people like tried to help and whatnot. So eventually, I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna pull the top off, drink the wine, and then get the little thing open to get the little wafer out. And then I had that, and then once I had that, I was like, all right, woo! I celebrated because I felt myself getting frustrated, and when I get frustrated, the way that I raise my vibrations is I start to laugh because laughter is a love language. And after I shouted out and laughed and whatnot, the minister said something about getting control of the service again. I was so focused on that cup, I don't know what all was supposed to be going on or happening. I was just happy that I got that little cup thing open and like, all right, cool. So then I went to the bathroom and it was beautiful. There's like so many doors and found one to use the bathroom. Thank you for functioning kidneys. Thank you for bladder control. Thank you for indoor plumbing. I go to the sink and I wash my hands and whatnot. And a woman and child were in there, and the woman says to the child, like, "Are you gonna take a bath in here? Like, are you gonna wash yourself off in the sink?" I thought that was so funny, so I had a little bit of a laugh. And then I walked back out. Then I took my poncho off and I folded it up, and then went back to the seat to sit down. So if you thought my blue poncho was a distraction with my laughter and my voice, wait till you get a load. Where do you get a load of me? So have this and just I'm thinking it is very simple, but it is also very colorful. So I have on like a red shirt and a pink scarf like this, and some leggings. I had all my sexy bits were covered. Yes, I had my shoulder out and whatnot. Um, but like, yeah. So I mean, this is my sexiest bit. So I can't. I'm not gonna cover that. So sit down there and I begin to listen to the word or the message from the minister for the day. And as I'm listening to him, I'm taking notes. I'm like, okay. And during the course of that, he misspoke, saying the word evil instead of good. And I noticed that. I was like, okay, I'm here for him. Okay, good is evil, evil is good. Like, you don't know what someone's perspective is. And as a shaman, like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to show you some love today. You deserve love if you think someone's trying to do evil when they're just doing the best they can for themselves. So that there's a lesson in that. The power of radical forgiveness is knowing that even the bad guys doing the best they can for those they care about and for the reasons that they have. So give yourself the best reason, which is yourself, love of yourself, to do the things that you enjoy, that enliven you, that give your life meaning and purpose. If you don't know what that is, we can probably talk about it and sit with it. I can talk to you or ask you some questions, and that's part of what I do. I'll put the link in the description for the different ways that you can connect with me or what have you. So anyway, or not, it's entirely up to you. Um, so as the service goes on, I'm like, okay, listening, and then he calls the leaders of the church up to the front, and he said something about prayer, and if you want to participate, you can, and whatnot. So I'm standing there, and I pray myself. Take a moment and prayer, and I'm like, all right, where is it that I'm supposed to go? What is it I'm supposed to do here? I'm like, okay, so the woman who's sitting in front of me comes back to sit down. I said, excuse me, I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? She said, oh, you go up there and, they'll pray with you. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, cool. Thank you so much. And I was like, and so I didn't realize that, but like, that's the end of the service. Like, after they pray, you go home. And again, Catholic, very ceremonial. You know when it starts, you know when it's over. And I guess that spirit was just like, okay, pray there for a little bit, spread love and light all over. I'm seeing everyone, and I'm just feeling, all right, where is it you need me to go? To the minister. All right, cool. We're doing this first thing, honey. So I walk up to him, and I wait in line because there's other people waiting for him to pray with them, and then the woman in front of me in line is one of the 5-8 singers that were up on the stage at the beginning of the service. And I told her that she had a lovely voice, and I thanked her for sharing her gifts. Thank you so much. You're so beautiful. I appreciate you. But then as she goes up to pray, I'm standing there, and I'm in my own little world. I don't recall hearing anything but like the subtle murmurs of other people or what have you. So I go and stand in front of the man, and I look at him like in his eyes, because I want to see what color his eyes are, and I can't see his eyes because there's like slits like this, and I'm just like, wow, okay, all right, cool. And so I'm just like, good afternoon, and whatever, and I greet myself, and he says something about a spirit over me. So then I pause and I wait to listen to see what my ancestors or guides are saying, and that's the spirit of grief, and also he doesn't understand the power that I'm carrying with me. Like, I know that when people encounter something that they don't understand, their mind will try to categorize it in a way that makes sense to them. So, me being someone that's never come to this church before, dressing the way that I dress, being as loud as I am, because he was talking about service and other things, and I missed the time that it was going to be. So rather than just wait, I spoke up and said, "What time?" And when I did, other people looked to respond to my voice. I know that because I felt it. but I stayed focused on the person up front or whatever. But him standing there in front of everyone, he sees who responds to me, and that can be very intimidating as a leader when someone comes along that easily garners attention. And I don't mind getting attention because it is what it is. Like I'm so accustomed to being actively ignored. I know people are looking at me because I'm me. Like I just appreciate that. So at any rate, we're standing there in front of him, and so I just stand with my hands in front of him like this, and I was like, Father God, Mother Earth, I come to you with open heart and gratitude for this child. Your beloved servant, I ask that you do the mighty work that you are meant to do within their heart. And I held my hand over his third eye chakra and my other hand over his heart, which was very interesting because I've never done that before. Normally, so I was guarding my hard heart from them because I know I did have to take myself through forgiveness when I got home because I felt judged and not appreciated. But they don't have to appreciate me. I'm there. If those that don't appreciate me, I'm not there for them. They're not my people, so that's fine. Um, but it is interesting to acknowledge the fact that as I'm standing there and I have my what's called my aloha bubble set up around me and him, as I'm just standing there radiating love, and I appreciate the fact that I did not push or pull any energy during this exchange. I just stood there and radiated. And so his wife comes up to me and she touches me on my shoulder, which surprises me. And I turn to her and say, "Don't touch me. Thank you. Don't touch me. Thank you. Like, you don't have permission to touch me." I have this, even though I'm a cuddler, and it's easy for me to get close to people quickly. I have this thing about individual body sovereignty. If I touch you, it's because you give me permission, or you led me to believe that I have permission to do so. If we have not interacted and you come up and touch me, I tend to ask you to not do it without permission. I will politely correct you as far as that's concerned. And I feel that that's important because I can recall times in my life when I have not had body sovereignty to be able to say what can or cannot happen to my physicality. So as an adult, I intend to maintain that, and I give that to children. Those that can speak, even those that can't speak. Of course, babies, I just sit and love on them and appreciate them. But the little ones that can run around, I just look at them with love. So we finish our prayer interaction and whatnot. I say thank you, and I walk back to my seat. And the spirit tells me to sit down. Just sit down. So I was like, okay. So I sit down. I'm making my notes. And a woman comes up to me and she introduces herself as Linda, and she asked me for a number, and I was like, I don't know. What do you want? I'm trying to be playful because I'm anxious and nervous. She's not quite being playful back, and that's fine because I'm new. And she at least had the boldness to come up to me and ask me for my telephone number. She was like, I do Bible study here, and I wanted to call you and talk to you about the church and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, all right, cool. Thank you. Here's my number. I pull out one of my cards. I write my name and my telephone number on the back of it. I show her the art, and I tell her, like, yes, I'm an artist and consultant. I'm a shaman. And she's like, what that? I'm like, it's a nature priest. So the the simplest way, but if you search Mom and Shaman, all you see is, well, not necessarily all you see, but what comes up first is the content that I've created, which is about love and acceptance, appreciation, and how blessed we are. So yeah, she asked me about, I said usually in the morning is a good time to speak with me, what have you. And like, okay, because I was like, I work for myself, so my schedule is, just depends on the needs of whom I'm serving. Excuse me. So, like I do have like office hours or what have you, or times of day in which I work. So yeah. Uh, then what else happened? So I sit there for a little bit, and I'm like, okay. So the thought occurs to me to go and speak with the wife who touched me and just acknowledge in sincerity, like if I offended you, forgive me. Like yeah, and then to tell somebody the story of why I was hallelujah in the I was like, yeah, I had such a time with that little cup that when it finally came open, I just had to praise about it, and I was grateful. So I spoke with her. Her name is Melody, and she acknowledged that one of the other people on stage was one of her children. I was like, oh, she has a lovely voice. Like, you must be so proud. And she was like, yes, yes, I am. And she has another son at home, and her husband, Glenn, are over this particular church. I met Felicia, Cody, and another guy who's, I can't remember his name because he had this beautiful beard, but he had the little I want to say concession stand, but refreshment stand, because like coffee is free, but I think you have to like pay for the chips or whatever. So I was like, all right, and I got a calendar. So I set my intention to go back there on Wednesday, the 4th of January, 2023, for Bible study at like 7 p.m. So I'm like, okay, we'll see how that goes. Very interesting. I love a good biblical conversation. And I readily acknowledge, like, I maintain a level of biblical ignorance so that I can be taught. Teach, teach me your ways, or what have you. Tell me your perspective, and I'll share with you mine. We'll have a great conversation. And I've learned there's certain phrases that people use when their perspective is being challenged, and that just promotes self-discovery. Like, why do I look at it this way? Why do I look at it this way? What am I afraid of? So, like, okay, I know that I was saying to one of my former colleagues before I left, working with that company, that I just really feel a call towards ministry, but like not church. So as I'm stepping out on faith and being present in my own life and in the lives of those that I'm around, we are, yeah, we're divinely guided and protected. Thank you, ancestors. I appreciate that. So, I crossed paths with someone named Bryson, a very sharp person, as they were walking to their car. So I was like, "Enjoy your walk," and he was like, "The walking that I'm doing is like to my car right now." And I stopped and I was like, "Hey, wait, hang on a sec, look around." It was gorgeous, they gorgeous. And I was like, "Man, it's so beautiful." It's like, you inspired me to go for a walk. Now, whether or not he actually does it, we'll see. I know I went for a walk that day, a little short one. I need to go for more walks as I work to do that. So to love on myself unconditionally. And last but not least, the thing that really what cinched it, and the reason that I'm going back is as I'm sitting there after the prayer and everything, the minister stands up and he says something about January being a time to fast. And in the 3 days prior to that, I have been preparing for, like, my intuition has been telling me to prepare for a fast. So I made my ginger and lime juice that I dilute just a little bit with hot water to warm it up so I can have a warm drink in the morning. Have a little bit of honey there. And so the way that I want to give you some information about baby stepping your way into fasting. The way that I initially started fasting was to just delay for an hour the time that I would eat. So I was like, okay, I'm hungry. I want to eat breakfast. So I'll look at the time, and an hour from now, I will eat. And in that hour, I chose to do something productive. I would clean something, I would write, I would read, I would do things to nourish my mind and body before I got the food as nourishment. And then I just, after a while, I pushed it back 2 hours and I pushed it back 3 hours. So I got to the point where I wouldn't eat anything within 6 hours of waking up. And I think the longest that I have gone before I kind of got was about 8 hours. So because I have type 2 diabetes, I do need to check in with my body very often so that I can eat or drink or do the things I need to do to make sure that I don't have a low blood sugar or too high blood sugar. So, that is the story of my visit to the house of worship. And we'll talk a bit more about my other adventures. I hope that this was helpful to you. If you are interested in booking a reading or a session with me, click the link in the description and for the various ways that you can connect with me. You're not alone. You're not in this alone. It's a lot easier when you have some help. So put your ego on a shelf and sit in to listen. We have everything we need. Sometimes we just need a little water of hope on the seed of the heart. On the seed in our heart. Because the shit that we go through is just fertilizer to make us wiser so that we can have more beautiful days. Because you can't avoid pain. It's a part of life. But the suffering is what gives you strife. When you can let that go, and you will know that you can glow from within. Because you are beyond the comparison. I love you. And I hope that you have a great day, night, evening. And I look forward to talking to you, seeing you. Thanks, babe. Love you.